Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here in Foley Square. It's Thursday, July 13th, 2023. We're covering the Southern District of New York Courthouse, and there's quite a few cases. Today we're going to be covering the case of U.S. versus Charlie Javice, but it's really JPM Chase versus Charlie Javice. Now, as someone pointed out, JPM Chase was bailed out, defrauded the government during the whole financial subprime meltdown, but they were themselves defrauded, they say, which is probably true. But also, in business, you're supposed to kind of look out for yourself. I mean, it's one thing if an individual investor is ripped off by somebody, but JPM Chase was fooled into buying a startup with inflated user numbers. Now Charlie Javice is charged, and there's a superseding indictment charging one of her co-workers at Frank. So we're covering that today. Eddy Alexandre, now there was fraud. This was a gentleman that ran MiniFX. It was a crypto firm. According to the U.S., 30,000 victims, and they're asking for 10 years. They quote one victim that he was a psychopath using the church to scam Haitian Americans and Haitians generally. Now, Robert Hadden, the dirty doctor of Columbia University, he's had one day of sentencing. He has another one coming up. Last night, his lawyer, federal defender, free lawyer, wrote in to say that a victim's letter shouldn't be considered for various reasons. Whether it's considered or not, his time is going to be extreme. Endless sentences. That's a book that we're writing. Now, let's turn around. Oh, there's also the guy called, well, I'm going to leave that one off because I want to talk about the United Nations once again. Why? Because things are happening out in the world. There's obviously the story of the Chinese hacking of Microsoft. They got into the email of the Commerce Secretary. There's also the story from Canada of China influencing elections in Canada. So we asked about both of them, the United Nations, in writing yesterday, because we cover the UN and we cover global affairs, and they promised to answer written questions, but of course they didn't. Instead, the spokesman Stefan Dujarric laughed with his friends in the briefing room, including China state media. Well, we've applied to re-enter and ask questions in person since they won't answer them in writing. Watch this space.